Good morning, dear friends. No sound. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Russell. I was just feeling so good about having all my little checklists done, and the sound was off. Well, at least there's a picture going to YouTube today. That's impressive. So, good morning. It's July 1st, 2020. Who would have thought that we on July the 1st, 2020 would be still cloistered like we are? Who would have thought that this epidemic would be coming roaring back at us like it is? As I was having my coffee this morning thinking, well, what should I say today? What's important? And I guess the thing that's really important is that these teachings are all about suffering less, no matter what the world does. Because the world is inherently, utterly, completely out of our control, including our own bodies, relationships, political systems. We are just not in charge. So how do we suffer less? How do we become more loving and compassionate in the face of what the world does? One of the things we do, of course, is we meditate together. I've established this practice/habit of reading a poem. This is a teaching from early Lao Tzu. You've heard no doubt of the Tao Te Ching. This is from the Hua Hu Ching, a collection of great wisdom. It may be from a person named Lao Tzu, or it might be from a collection of people named Wise Elder. So we don't know, and it doesn't matter, I don't suppose. I'm only going to read this one once. So this is some of his guidance for meditators, for those who are going inward in their lives, as well as outward. 38. Why scurry about looking for the truth? It vibrates in everything and every not thing right off the tip of your nose. Can you be still and see it in the mountain, the pine tree, yourself? Don't imagine you'll discover it by accumulating more knowledge. Knowledge creates doubt, and doubt makes you ravenous for more knowledge. You can never get full eating this way. The wise person dines on something more subtle. She eats the understanding that the named was born from the unnamed, that all being flows from non-being, that the describable world emanates from an indescribable source. He finds this subtle truth inside his own self and becomes completely content. So who can be still and watch the chess game of the world? The foolish are always making impulsive moves, but the wise know that victory and defeat are decided by something more subtle. They see that something perfect exists before any move is made. This subtle perfection deteriorates when artificial actions are taken. So be content not to disturb the peace. Remain quiet. Discover the harmony in your own being. Embrace it. If you do this, you will gain everything and the world will become healthy again. If you can't, you'll be lost in the shadows forever. This subtle perfection deteriorates when artificial actions are taken, so be content not to disturb the peace. Remain quiet. Discover the harmony in your own being and embrace it. And we're so fortunate because we have a long lineage, a long history of human beings who have been following this particular path, the path of the Buddha. And so we can remind ourselves of where to take refuge. Taking refuge in the world, the outer world, doesn't work very well. Or it'll work well for a while and then it collapses. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Supposed to be Dharma, huh? Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. And now Dharma. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I just remembered there was a request, I think maybe in the chat, maybe an email, in the fire hose of incoming. Someone requested the chords for the song, and I will post the song, the little musical piece for that, on the portlandinsight.org, on the listserv today, before I get up from my seat. So let's have a really wonderful time doing less and less. Oh, Jay, that was you. Thank you, Jay. One way to open the door inward is to practice some gratitude. Intentional gratitude. Apparently the Buddha often taught gratitude at the start. It's pretty easy in terms of it comes right out of our survival training as individuals and as a species. It's easy to find the things that are wrong in our lives and focus on them. What's harder to do is to recognize the obvious but monumental, like, I could get out of bed this morning all by myself. I could walk to the bathroom and have indoor plumbing. Indoor plumbing, imagine that. Hot water on demand. And there was a kitchen, only shared with less than a handful of people. Refrigerator with food in it. 2 kinds of coffee for the preferences in the household? Or should I have tea this morning? Seeing is working today. There's no shooting nearby. And so on and so on. Reflect on the ways that your life is blessed. I have a molar that's acting up. The dentist said a year or so ago that it might pose problems. I have a dentist. I have ibuprofen that takes the pain out of the tooth. Now this is privilege. So with gratitude, buoyed up by gratitude, let us turn toward the body with great love. Notice that it's alive, still or again. It's breathing. All by itself, as it has now for so long, so many million repetitions. And we don't even have to remember to breathe. And please let us become really intimate with breathing. Greet this breathing in and breathing out as you might a lover you haven't seen for a year. Maybe who you thought you'd never see again. Each breath becomes precious, one of a kind, worthy of really embracing. The mind might be very quiet or very noisy or somewhere in between. However it is, in this moment it is like this. In every direction, at every sense door, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and all the phenomena that occur in mind. They all dance the same tune. Anicca, the indescribably vast coming and going. Please now, let us land. Right here. In that space, that awakeness in which everything occurs.
We rest in the present moment. Even if there's a struggle going on, even if there are frightening or bad feelings, even if there's anger or fear or loneliness or despair, we rest in the present moment, watching the show. Samsara, the great wheel of birth and death, where the polarities play out, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, health, sickness, fame, disrepute, success and failure. We somehow or another find enough strength in ourselves and in our community and in our practice to open in love and compassion to the world as it presents itself to us.
awakeness, mindfulness, presence in this moment right now. Embracing the sweetness of breathing in, breathing out. All around us and inside us, nature unfolds. How mysterious that there is this awareness that knows it. Break free. Wake up to the trances of the wandering mind. What a relief to not be trying to get somewhere else. Around me, the wild dogs of the Kalahari are restless. And then they're gone. Opening up the field now of awareness to include your whole body. Notice the life in the feet and legs. Not some theory or image of that, but the actual aliveness of the pelvis and genitals and the organs that are cradled in the pelvis, the buttocks pressed down, the sacrum in the back. From the pubic bone into the abdomen and solar plexus and chest. The sides. The fingers and hands, thumbs. The arms, forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders. Gratitude. All the hundreds or thousands of miles of blood vessels in the body working well enough. A few months ago, I learned what happens when an artery the size of a thread gets blocked for a tiny stroke. Gratitude, it's working right now. Billions of causes and conditions are all functioning exactly right. Bringing awareness, reverence into the neck, the jaw, the cheeks, the eyes, the forehead, the scalp. On this next in-breath, wish yourself well. On the next out-breath, wish someone else well. May I be held in the sweet arms of compassion. Imagine yourself being held by the Buddha or Kuan Yin, or Mary or Jesus or Mother Kali, or any archetypal image that you choose. Or just imagine kindness toward yourself. May I be happy. And then on the out-breath, think of someone else, maybe someone that you see here on this broadcast that you don't know otherwise. Or maybe a beloved child, or maybe a deceased partner, a pet. Bringing ourselves into love, into compassion, and into gratitude. And please now bring awareness, whatever that means. Experience the mystery of awareness in what you call your face, your cheeks, your eyes. Notice how it is to make the eyes move left to right and right to left, or around in a circle, or up and down somehow. And then allowing them to open, or more accurately, forming the intention, making the effort to raise the eyelids, seeing. How does that happen? Seeing all of a sudden. Suffering less. The fact is, everything's unstable. We are aging. There will be sickness, old age, decay, and death. There are experiences we'd rather not to have that we have. There are experiences we'd really like to have, long to have, that we don't have and won't have. We get to be with some people we'd really rather not be with. And there are people we'd really like to be with that we can't. Said the Buddha. First Noble Truth. What's the cause of this suffering? It's the wanting something to be different. The inability to accept what is after we've done everything we can to create the reality we'd like to have. The desire for more pleasure, the desire for less pain, and the desire to become somebody else or something else. And what the Buddha taught was that if we dare to develop mindfulness, if we have the capacity to face into the dissatisfaction, something else emerges, which is contentment. Not sleepy, dull, all right, I'll accept it, but real contentment. A moment at a time, a little more frequently. I delved into the news last night. This coronavirus epidemic is upon us and appears to be going to get much worse. So our isolation will probably continue. And so just this morning I was sitting before setting up the cameras and stuff, and I was thinking maybe I should figure out how to do it some Sunday to have an open garden at PIMC, and we could have an outdoor meeting and be very careful about social distancing, but and particularly for those people who don't come to these broadcasts, there are quite a few people who I don't think are connected in at all at this point and to PIMC, and I'd like to make an opportunity as summer's here to try that, weather permitting. So I popped as an idea this morning. Speaking of PIMC, if you would like to participate in the great act of dana, of generosity, of support, I put a link in the chat that will take you to the contributions page, and you can scroll down there to the morning meditation if you want and put a contribution in there, or you could do a weekly or monthly contribution, which is really the better thing for the budget, and that way you can know that you're always supporting your Dharma Center even when you're not here. Generosity is such fun. Let's all really make good use of it when we have the opportunity. I guess one other announcement is that I shall be absent tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Jim Dalton will be hosting, and he'll be teaching tomorrow. And then it'll be Gary Sanders on Friday, and Doyle Banks on Monday, Gregory on Sunday, and Kendall Summers on Tuesday. That was a nice test of my aging memory. Good for me. Even with a little anxiety, saying, oh, I'm going to forget. No, I didn't. Yay! Taking great pleasure in small successes at this point. So I invite you to participate in that. I shall be on retreat, actually. I'm headed up into the mountains I have a spot or two that someone has pointed out to me. I'm going to go and camp and be quiet. No electronics. Just me. Seems very interesting, desirable. My guess is there will be moments in it which are kind of hard too, as I soften and open up to what's been happening that I haven't had time or energy or capacity to be with. So I think that's what I want to share. Let's open it up to see what's happening for you. What are you discovering? What are the real challenges of this moment or this day? And what are the blessings you're experiencing?
Hello, Robert.
Hello.
And Sangha. This is Carmen.
Hello, Carmen.
I wanted to share something that was a wonderful experiment and gift. Is I went to Mount Rainier for a hike, to Snow Lake on Monday, and masked up, and I was on the trail. Just the avalanche lilies are blooming. Its smell was incredible, and every passing person I wish them well. And I and what was interesting is because of COVID, we greet people. There's an instant fear. Oh, another human. Oh my God, stay away. But yet the trail does not allow you to pass sometimes safely within the 6 feet. Some people had masks, some people didn't. But being able to greet other fellow humans was a wonderful experience, and wishing them well, even the ones that didn't have the mask on. And everyone everyone greeted each other. It was a wonderful, heartfelt experience. And I just wanted to share that with the Sangha because I think in these difficult times when we have to be apart from other humans, we're still capable of greeting and wishing well each other. So.
Thank you, Carmen. It just popped to mind to thank everyone once again for your incredibly generous contributions to the move to the Tough Shed. Thank you, Alicia, for your organizing and brain putting it together, and the goal to cover the basic expenses of sheetrock and the shed and electricity and so on was $10,000, and to this moment, and we're closing it, of course, is 10,233. So that's really just enough to really put it together and get it all in place. So, and Francine offered to do some landscaping, and it's really a great success. And it comes on the 5th of August. And it'll be electrified the next day, and then I guess the day after that I'll be live from there, which it'll be a shame to lose the sound of the birds and so on, but it'll also be a relief because it gets a little tedious putting it all away, putting it back together, etc. So, and never knowing when I have never spent this much time in my backyard, and there's a construction project over here. They're building 14 homes, and the amount of motor noise and weed eaters, it's just amazing how noisy this neighborhood is, and it's just an ordinary suburban neighborhood. So anyway, a bow of thanks, and the Buddha Broadcasting Network Central Home is it really happening thanks to all of your incredible support. So I am humbled in the face of that and very touched. So what else is going on, folks? Questions, comments, sharing. I remembered something someone sent me a few weeks ago. I will post it to the chat in a moment. It's U Tejaniya out of the Rochester Meditation Center. There's a quote here. The yogi, the meditator. Fear seems to increase the voltage of mindfulness. For example, fearing that touching my face could give me coronavirus seems to heighten my ability to be aware of the intention to touch my face before I do so. U Tejaniya. We must be careful about letting fear become the motivator of any thought or action. This unwholesome mind should never lead. If fear leads, you can watch the fear. But don't let it lead, because defilements always bring in other defilements. For example, if you let fear be the lead, it will quickly bring in other defilements, such as anger, worry, impatience, sadness, or depression. Fear seems to increase the voltage of mindfulness. For example, fearing that touching my face could give me coronavirus seems to heighten my ability to be aware of the intention to touch my face before I do so. We must be careful about letting fear become the motivator of any thought or action. The unwholesome mind should never lead. If fear arises, you can watch the fear. But don't let it lead, because defilements always bring in other defilements. For example, if you let fear be the lead, it will quickly bring in other defilements such as anger, worry, impatience, sadness, or depression. I suppose the same is true with anger. This situation is unbearable. I'm angry. I'm going to let it motivate my actions. Probably not such good outcomes. Let's see if I can post that big long thing into the... Here we are. Can someone send the link to the listserv? I get the digest, but don't get other emails Robert talks about. Send an email to Avi, A-V-I, at portlandinsight.org and ask him to put you on the listserv. Or go to the website and put yourself on the listserv. And I'm not sure how to describe where to find that, but poke around and you'll find it. So here I'm going to try to paste that thing I just did. I don't know if it went there or not. I think it's too big. Oh no, there it is, it worked. Yay. If there are things in the chat you want to keep, I believe you can go in the chat, and at the bottom of the chat there are three little buttons, three little dots, and you can click Save Chat, I think. We could spend our whole time doing technological working, having things work better, and it's like having children. You never have to talk to your partner about the relationship because there's always something else. So let's talk about the medium we're talking through, and then we never have to really be vulnerable or discover we love or hate each other.
Robert, I found the page on the IMC website, and I posted it in the chat where you can sign up for Connection.
Oh, good. Oh, there's no chat save on the iPad. Well, that's what you get for the convenience of having an iPad, Had. It's a price. Uh-oh, losing it here.
Hi, Robert. Good morning, Sangha. It's Jessica.
Jessica, hello, my dear. There
Oh,
you are. Hi.
here I am. I thought I'd share because it's the way my weird mind works. For what it's worth, yesterday I just got in this weird over analysis. I think of sending a card to my sister's mother-in-law, which sounds kind of random, but her husband, my sister's father-in-law, died a little over a year ago, and it was very unexpected. And but my hesitation in the card, I know the wife, Barbara, but it's been an interesting relationship over the years, and suffice to say that I kind of walk on eggshells a little when I'm there visiting, and so any communication I feel can be misconstrued, or I'm the weird Westerner and I'm the sister that doesn't pay attention to the family, blah, 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 blah. So there I am just writing a card. And then I had that moment of like, you know what? I cannot control how she receives this. I really want to just send her some love. It's been a year. I have no idea exactly how it's gone. But I really thought most everyone likes to get some kind of mail. So I'm going to just write it based on love, and wouldn't it be nice to just have a nice thought for your day? And so I did it, and it felt really the relief. But what was fascinating is just seeing this whole debate I had for myself for like an hour before I could actually just sit down and write the card. So I guess the good news is that I came out of it, but the weird news was just that whole process. And it's like, oh, good God, I don't want to do this every time I write the card. So anyways, for what that's
And
worth.
how wonderful that it all happened in the light of consciousness.
Hopefully.
Well, you were,
Pretty lost for a while there.
yeah. But what a remarkable thing to be mindful of that internal dialogue, that conflict, and we have so many of those. They're so normal for us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Just struck me just now. For some reason, in this whole conversation about the being on the technology versus being in the moment,
Right.
and it just flashed back to me from yesterday. So thank you.
That it makes me think of that little one-liner, the I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment, and a top dog underdog split like that. Every psychotherapy system has different names for that process, but it's it's beyond epidemic. It's normative, which sucks because it's so unpleasant. But how wonderful to be able to be mindful of it. It's they're suffering there still, but it's not the extra suffering of I shouldn't have this and what's wrong with me and all that extra piece. Whew. Thanks for that statement that you can't control how she receives it. Isn't that the truth? It could be you could have totally stepped on a landmine. It could be the end of the relationship, or it could have been just perfect, or somewhere in between.
Robert, this is Had.
Hello.
Just a brief, I just want to make a comment. Last week, or earlier this week, no, last week, we're only at the middle of this week, someone shared from the Willamette Week a posting by Sharon Mirren, who is an emergency room doctor here in Portland.
Yeah.
And the comment I want to make is I read the article that she wrote beautifully about taking care of yourself and just warding off COVID, the risk of COVID. And she, as a doctor, had some wise things to say. And I shared that with my wife, who happens to be in Queens, New York right now, with my daughter-in-law, who had a stroke. She's 32 years old. And it's just very valuable that my wife can get back there for a brief time while they're dealing with that huge change in their lives. But the comment I'm making is how his communication to me went, and I saw that from Sharon, and then I sent that to my wife in Queens, New York, and I just am in awe of the speed and distance and all that we can bring into our sphere of communication.
Thanks, Ed.
Hello, Robert. It's
Hello.
Jan.
Hello, Jan.
Hello, Sangha. I put up this picture of Chomolungma, the deity at the heart of the mountain that people call Everest, for everybody this morning, and to wish you, Robert, a wonderful time in the mountains, where I hope that you are surrounded by the beauty of nature and find that peace and the connection to the deities and whatever else you need while you're in the mountains that I love so much.
I thank you.
And thank you for this too, because it's so wonderful every morning. And I'm looking forward to your return, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the other teachers are going to have for us while you're off being by yourself in the wonderful mountains. So have a great time up there.
Thank you so much.
May it all turn out to be perfect.
I guess that's up to me, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because it'll be as it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for this gathering that we get to do every day.
It's great, isn't it?
It is.
Yep. Great for me
It
too.
is.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thanks for the picture. Chomo
You're
Longma.
welcome. Oh yeah, I went to the mountain called Everest and went up to 17,000 feet on the north side, the Tibetan side.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, and it was so, I love mountains. When you were talking about the mountains yesterday, oh, I could feel that so much, what that's like. So, yeah, that was something that I wanted to do, to go to Tibet since I was 8 years old and saw a picture of the Potala on the cover of National Geographic.
No kidding.
So I did, and spent about 2.5 weeks in Tibet. It was so wonderful visiting monasteries and connecting with the people and the land of Tibet. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, there you are. Chomolungma.
How sweet. Thank you very much. Well, it's a little after 8 already. Anybody else sitting with something?
Robert, the people were wondering about the quotation from Tejaniya. I posted the link to his website where you can sign up for daily reminders. And someplace in that list of daily reminders is what you read, but I don't know what day it was. It was a long time ago.
Thanks. Well, I put the whole thing, I think, in the chat as well.
I don't see it.
Oh, well, maybe it didn't all get in. I'll stick it on the listserv. I'm going to do that and the music for the chant this morning. He said, hopefully. With sincerity and hopefulness of remembering.
The term unbridled optimism came to mind.
Oh dear. Yeah, there's that.
I really admired your memory catching the whole schedule while you're gone. It was wonderful.
That was impressive, wasn't it? There was a time when one would have done that just, of course, but yeah. Interestingly, and I commented on this in passing, the fear of not remembering is, in my case, the greater obstacle. The memory isn't bad, but there's, especially around names, it's like, and then, you know, I've offended someone. I can, thinking of the Jessica, in terms of the way self-talk and struggle, exactly all that papancha, mental proliferation. I do that around remembering people's names. I'll meet them and I know who they are, for God's sake. It's this, but oh no, what if I forget? And so, and then I forget. And you know, that doesn't seem to be going away. I've been working with that for so long, and it's just the workings of this neurotic mind. It's got this anxiety thing it does, and so what? Human again. Well, it sure is a delight for me to meet with you in this beautiful way. I'm always changed and touched by being. I'm always softened by being here in the morning. And it's the sitting, but it's also the human beauty of it all. Well, last call, anybody? Let's close this morning with Ya Fatah. Ya Fatah, it comes from the Sufis. It's one of the 101 beautiful names of God in Islamic practice. And Ya Fatah means, may the path of your heart open before you. And it's done in a very particular way, that we take our hands and we place them over our hearts, and we fill them with all of the loving, beautiful energy that we have gathered and generated in this practice time. And then, and it's not a namby-pamby Buddhist practice. It's a practice which is full-throated Ya Fatah. And we're all facing in different directions. And so if we do this and cast our may the path of your heart open before you, we will cover the entire earth. Every being will be touched by this. And if you really feel into it, they say you can feel a little tap on the back of your head when it goes all the way around the world, and your wishes come and tap you too. So I'm going to unmute, and let's do it 3 times, as is the custom. And unmute. So, are we ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ya Fatah! Ya Fatah! Ya Fatah! Oh, that was fun. Oh, the dog liked that. Hi, Dobby. So, dear friends, please be safe. And I will look forward to being with you soon. And I, of course, will be with you meditating during this time each day. Happy trails to all.
Happy trails.
Thanks for taking the helm, Jimbo.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Looks like he trimmed his beard. He trimmed his beard.
It got out of hand. I had to trim it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think he likes that one.
Bye, everyone. Travels, Robert.
Goodbye, dear friends on Facebook and YouTube. I hope this worked well today, and I hope you're safe on your journeys while I'm gone.